Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2026 Rotoworld Fantasy Football Draft. I am Patrick Daugherty, joined here in person by Denny Carter, Kyle Dvorchak, Lawrence Jackson, three of the very best in the business, all Rotoworld NBC employees. And we are joined by some of the other best in the business, other NBC employees, Mr. Zach Kruger, Mr. Rivers McCown, and then some of our friends from around the industry, Matt Harmon from Yahoo, Scott Pianowski from Yahoo, Hayden Winks, also from Yahoo. Ian Harditz from RotoWire. We have Chris Allen from Yahoo and Fantasy Life. We have an all-star crew. We have 15 rounds. We have PPR. We got quarterbacks. We got running backs, receivers, tight ends. It's going to be a 15-round, fun little PPR draft for you guys. I am prepared. Are you prepared? Are you guys prepared for the trends of the 2026 season? You know, everything. Fantasy rhymes from year to year, sure. Denny Carter, but every year things are a little bit different.
Absolutely.
What is something you have noticed that has been different so far in 2026 fantasy football drafts?
I mean, I think we're back to, 10, 12, even 15 years ago with the way that people are valuing running backs early on. We saw that sort of fade during the zero RB renaissance in like 2015 to 2022 or so. Defenses adjusted. They said no more of this stuff. They're forcing teams to run. So last season and the season before, we saw a huge increase in the number of rushing attempts in the league. Running backs stayed healthy at an unusual rate, I will say. So that's something to remember. Wide receivers got injured at an unusually high rate last year as well. My question coming into a draft like this is, does this make wide receivers, the elite wide receivers, even more valuable because people are chasing those high-end running backs, and for good reason. I understand why. But it's something that I sort of question myself. Is it okay to zig when others are zagging?
Denny, to your point, the running back, the RB1 tier, I think is as deep as it has been since like the glory days of fantasy football. Sure. We all came up, quote unquote, in the era where like if you did not draft a running back in the first round, you were a total slappy. That's just how we were taught to play the game. Yeah. Then Lawrence, people like Denny, came and taught us, like, no, actually, you should occasionally draft wide receivers. But that RB1 tier is as deep as it's been in maybe 20 years. The RB2 and 3 tier, not nearly as deep. Lawrence, I know you like to start running back, but with running back super top heavy and then the depth falling off very quickly, how are you approaching the beginning?
I'm going to just draft more running backs, Pat. That's literally what I'm going to do. But I think to what Denny said earlier, I think the PPR leagues is what changed things and how people draft. Like back in probably before I even played fantasy football, even if you go to the early 2000s, it was standard leagues.
Oh, yeah.
So it was all about getting your running back.
2 running backs off the top.
Off the top.
No matter what.
And then you figure it out at receiver, right? But I think the reason running backs are back is because they catching 70 and 80 and if a guy like Christian McCaffrey, he's getting 100 receptions, but even if you get a guy who could get you 40, 50 receptions, that's valuable in these PPR leagues.
And that's a good point about running backs catching more passes out of the backfield. That is a trend that we've seen the last couple of years. And I think that relates to even like the rocket arm quarterbacks being forced to check down more because, especially you're talking about the Josh Allens, the Burrows, the Mahomes, they're facing an unprecedented level of too high coverage, right? So it's all checkdowns, it's tight ends, and it's running backs. That does make a difference, especially in PPR.
I would be remiss, by the way. I knew when I was naming everyone who was drafting, I would forget somebody. 444 football. Say that 10 times. Jennifer Eakins also joining us today. Longtime NBC freelancer, one of the very best in the business. Kyle, though, he's one of the absolute best in the business. We got the fantasy football boomers over here. Even Denny, we all mentioned running backs. Running backs. What do you have to say about wide receivers, Kyle? Or any trends in general heading into 2026 drafting season?
I think in most years, it's not like what do the running backs and what do the wide receivers look like. It's what do they look like in conjunction, right? It doesn't matter how deep the running back class is if, to your point, there is only 3 ways to get the highest scoring wide receiver in the NFL. As you were saying, there just aren't as many wide receivers in the NFL putting up 16, 17, 1,800-yard seasons. Right. And when I enter my drafts, I think about drafting back to front. What can I get in the late rounds that I cannot get at other positions. And right now, running back feels really thin in the late rounds. And you just look at the rookie classes we've had in recent years. This past year, we had one day 2 running back taken in the entire NFL draft, and it was considered a reach in Kalen Black by the 49ers. The previous year was supposed to be a savior running back class. It was okay. And then the previous year before that was actually the Jonathan Brooks year, where Jonathan Brooks is somehow back now, but it was another underwhelming class. So just the depth of the running back position has kind of been wiped out just by some bad luck throughout the draft over the past few years. So I think that's part of the reason where I do also want to be drafting wide receivers early. I'm of that like new school mindset of like we just want to hammer to the flex, get to wide receivers, get to the flex as fast as possible. You want to win the flex. But at this point, there's really not many great ways to build in running back depth in rounds 10, 11, 12, 13, which is why I've kind of capitulated and said some of these early running backs that I traditionally would have called true dead zone backs, I'm okay taking. I'm not dying to get them, but I am okay making that pick this year, more so than other years.
Sounds like someone's never heard of Demond Claiborne, Emmett Johnson, Jaden Blue.
Jonah Coleman.
Never wrong, only early, or whatever the phrase is there. Jaden Blue.
I'll tell you what, fellas. I was just recently in one of my drafts. It was 12-man PPR league, and I did my thing, running backs, right? I think Devontae Smith is my wide receiver 1, and I'm fine with that, right? But after the draft, clearly we haven't started any games yet, right? I'm already getting trade offers for J.K. Dobbins because he's like my running back 5.
The vultures are circling.
Yeah, I'm like, you didn't like your draft, man? Like, damn. Like,
they're subtweeting you.
So, hey, get your. I like to approach it, get my running backs, depending on what my draft position is, and then like go for the receivers that I think will outperform their ADP.
Guys, we're only 3 minutes from the beginning of the draft. Big news all across the land, unfortunately, this week, and then all across the land. on the injury front, Breece Hall out 2 to 3 weeks. Jordan Tyson out a minimum of 2 months. A CMC out ? With quote-unquote tightness. Are any injuries that you are particularly concerned about, Denny, heading into this draft?
Yeah, I mean, the CMC one is a little concerning because, I'm drafting 3rd here. And if CMC were at full health, I would probably take him,
He's at full health. Take him.
He admitted.
Well, so I saw some conjecture online that maybe he's holding out. Maybe he wants a little more money after Bijan and Gibbs.
Would you want me to get him at 10?
No.
Because I will do that.
No,
Let's be
your
real.
question.
He's trying to avoid the substation.
Right. So how do I work the substation into my my draft model? I don't know. No, I'm kidding about that. But I do think the CMC injury looms a little bit large here. Parker Washington being dinged up makes me worried a little bit because
that's a you thing.
That's definitely a you thing.
I feel like if you're going to go running back heavy to start, Parker Washington is a guy later in the middle rounds that can make that work for you because I see him as the wide receiver 1 in Liam Cohen's offense, and I like him a lot. But anyway, those are 2 that caught my attention.
I've been taking a lot of Breece Hall. I'm a little nervous about that. We were already, of course, nervous about the Jets running back situation. Some of us physically so, because Braylon Allen has been unhappy with some of the things said on this show, the Rotoworld football show, about the Jets backfield. Does this create an opening for Braylon Allen, who's been having a nice camp?
Yes, and first of all, Braylon, if you're listening, I took you in a Writers League.
Oh my gosh!
I seriously did in the Apex Writers League.
Yeah, we're all trying to figure out why.
I did. So anyway, I'm a big Braylon guy. Always have been.
Denny, look directly in the camera when you address Mr. Allen.
Mr. Allen, if you're listening.
Called him Mister.
Listen,
he like 19.
But I don't see him getting any sort of pass catching work out of that backfield. So he's more of a like between the 20s guy, maybe a goal line guy. But how many touchdowns are the Jets going to score this year? That's the question.
Only 50 seconds to draft. Lawrence, is Jordan Tyson a young player we're very excited about? Is he on do not draft list at this point with the 2 months?
It had to be really late now at this point, man. 2 to 3 months. That's most of our fantasy seasons. NFL wise, it's okay. You want them down the stretch, but from a fantasy perspective, you definitely don't love that.
I think Scott Pianowski, who is drafting in this league today, has always said in the past, let other people have the injury optimism. Unfortunately, in fantasy football, the season is just so short. It's so condensed. You need to be really convinced of the upside to take someone with a multi-month timeline. Jordan Tyson has long-term career upside. Just not sure if he's really worth the risk anymore. In 2026, we're 9 seconds away from our draft. A highlight reel, Rivers McCown, that's his stock Yahoo team name, is going to pick. He's on the clock first, guys. Then it's Chris Allen. Then it's Denny. Denny, are you nervous? Are you sweating? Are you
I
taking
think he
the
knows who
substation?
he's getting.
I'm looking strongly into a couple guys here. Jahmyr Chase, obviously being one, and who went? Oh, you know what though? Bijan Robinson is on the board.
Wow.
For me.
Who went second?
Who did go second?
Jahmyr Chase.
Jahmyr Chase, yeah. So yeah, I mean, for me, I've been taking Bijan Robinson first overall over Gibbs. I don't think you can go too terribly wrong either way with those guys. Obviously, I do think in this Falcons offense, especially if Tua is under center for a good part of the year, we're going to see a lot of checkdowns, a lot of short passes. Robinson could have one of those like legendary PPR seasons, so I'm going to take him.
Bijan, he's set up to go LT mode, LaDainian Tomlinson. Maybe CMC
I mean,
mode.
he did it last year minus the touchdowns. He didn't have he doesn't get the touchdowns that Jahmyr Gibbs has because one plays for the Falcons and the other plays for the Lions. But 2,300 yards from scrimmages, that's LaDainian Tomlinson-esque.
There's like a pretty clear path to him getting those touchdowns too, because Tyler Algier is a good between the tackles thumper, and as frustrating as it was for fantasy to see him truly run even on red zone carries and inside the 5 carries, you sort of understand that if you have a Tyler Algier on your roster, I guess that's what you use him for. They obviously no longer have specifically Tyler Algier on their roster. They have Brian Robinson. So I do think there's a path where if the Falcons just choose like, let's just try the LaDainian Tomlinson season. They can just spin that up. They almost had it last year. To your point, it was just the touchdowns. The touchdowns are now up for grabs that weren't last year.
Right, and he's durable too. You know, Bijan Robinson is always available, and we love that at the running back position.
Guys, I was on the clock at 1-5. I let it go all the way down. That's what you should do, by the way. You psych out everyone in your draft.
It really works.
You need to be playing
Trust us
mind
on
game.
this.
Also, if anyone has Hayden Winks' number, please text him and let him know the draft has begun.
Looks like he took a Monroe St. Brown here.
I took JSN at 5, and just had one of the greatest receiver seasons in the history of the NFL.
And no one really talks
Kyle,
about
and
him.
no one's talking about it. It seems like no one wants to draft him. The regression is almost baked in. Is it too baked in, though, where we're not even considering him really in the top 3?
I think there's a very reasonable argument that the loss of Clint Kubiak, who was really fundamental offensive coordinator, former Seahawks offensive coordinator, now Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak, the loss of Clint Kubiak, who was fundamental in the JSN breakout, is the difference between him being Jahmyr Chase and the difference between him being Jahmyr Chase and specifically still an Amon-Ra St. Brown or a good Justin Jefferson, not quite last year's Justin Jefferson, or CeeDee Lamb. Those are all really good fantasy players. But to be the wide receiver 1 overall, everything really has to come together, and I think just one thing being different. In this case, it's the OC being different. I think that's why he goes as the 3rd wide receiver, which is still a very pretty penny to pay for a truly elite player.
Oh, we're going here. Lawrence.
With JSN, just real quick, yes, the efficiency probably can't stand for a second straight season. Those things tend to regress. And you might see that countered by more offensive plays for the Seahawks. They had so few last year. They played with a lead throughout almost all the season, 9 games in which they didn't trail for 1 second of the game. And they passed at a 44% rate when in the lead. So more pass attempts could counter that, and JSN could have another extremely productive season.
Not as much time with the lead. Also, they're remaking their backfield on the fly. Yeah. Jadarian Price is banged up, the 1st-round pick, who they wanted to ease in to things regardless. So I think the look of the Seahawks offense is going to be a lot different. And, like, who's the security blanket? It's JSN. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. JSN almost reached 1,800 yards last year if he actually reaches that this year.
He could, because they are going to pass more.
He could be less efficient, Denny, and have more production.
Right. And like yards per route run, targets per route run, those things will probably drop a little bit. I also think just while we're talking about the Seahawks, that increased pass volume could be good for A.J. Barner. Also, Rashid Shaheed, who is reportedly much more involved in the passing game in training camp than he was last year, which was not at all, really.
Lawrence, who'd you take in round 1? You're up in round 2.
With the 10th pick, I went Saquon Barkley here. I had, Martin Luther King dreams of getting Barkley and James Cook, but when you got a room with these type of fantasy minds in here, that's probably not going to go. So I took Saquon Barkley. I'm expecting him to get back to not quite 2,000 rushing yards, but definitely not 1,100 rushing yards. I think he goes something in between. I think the offense opens up more. I think you don't have to worry about forcing passes, to A.J. Brown. Now, Saquon Barkley probably won't eclipse 55 receptions. It may not even get 45, right? But it's going to be about him, having those explosive plays. It wasn't that he lost a step. It's that their line lost players that actually played on it. So with all of those guys back, I like this pick here. And Kenneth Walker.
You sound like you're learning of him for the first time.
As I'm sitting here talking.
Oh, so you auto-drafted Kenneth Walker.
I auto-drafted Kenneth Walker.
Well, tell us your thoughts. This is a safe place.
Why did you do that?
Let's redo this and give me Devon Achane. But if Devon Achane would have gotten picked, but he didn't, I probably would have taken Kenneth Walker just for the simple fact that the Chiefs going out and spending money for the first time on a running back lets you know, and it's for a running back, it's a decent penny, right? But because they, they're done with trying to experiment with the late round running back. They even tried it last year too. Who's the guy?
Rashard.
Yes.
As someone who drafted a lot of Rashard Smith, I can tell you his name.
They was trying to find that genie about it. They said, no, we're going to find this guy who had this great playoff run. So, man, I ain't mad at it. I would have, and Devon Achane just went, so whatever. I will not talk during my pick next time.
But, the Chiefs have talked up the idea of a more balanced offense. Usually they're among the pass-heaviest teams in the league. They said, with Mahomes coming back from that injury, with Kenneth Walker in the backfield, they might be more balanced. Now, I don't know if I fully believe that because it feels like a Mahomes offense is one that just passes all the time, especially near the end zone. But if they do that, then Walker could see real volume here. That could be a good pick.
Yeah, there was a game where Kareem Hunt had 29 carries last year.
Yeah.
So,
for 85 yards.
That can't be real. That can't be real. That really doesn't sound real.
Guys, I've been so big this year on getting a running back in the first 2 rounds, but Devon Achane was my target, and now I'm looking at Nico Collins, George Pickens, Malik Neighbors, Devontae Smith. I kind of want to do that more than the injury question marks, Breece Hall or Jeremiah Love. Should I just ignore the injury question marks and take one of these upside running backs? That's kind of what I want to be told to do.
I pick after you, so I'm going to abstain from this.
I think you should.
I'm taking Jeremiah Love. And with Jeremiah Love, the selection I just made, I think highlights something you have to do in fantasy drafts sometimes. Is drum beats take over in the summer. Sometimes they're runaway hype trains that shouldn't be happening, like Jaden Blue last year, for instance. This year, Jeremiah Love has become like a negative drum beat where he plays a lot in the first game, he gets hurt. The coaches are continually making kind of silly comments on him. Like Nathaniel Hackett was like, yeah, the rookie. Yeah, I've heard of that guy.
Right.
Now they're saying he might not be a 3-down player. Sometimes you just have to strip everything away. What is the most likely outcome with the number 3 overall pick of the draft who happens to be a running back? Are they really not going to give him the ball enough? I wish Jeremiah Love.
Week 1 preseason.
Yeah, that's true. They're feeding him.
And that's another guy I would have taken over Kenneth Walker too, by the way.
So sometimes you got to just strip it down, I feel like, to its bare essence. This is the number 3 overall pick. They shouldn't have made the pick, but they did, which tells you they must truly love the player. I'm just going to focus on that macro while ignoring the very concerning micros.
I will add another
fine.
I will add another micro concern that is in particular probably a problem for Love early in the year, is that I'm pretty sure he's playing week 1, but he is dealing with a high ankle sprain right now. And for as much as the team has talked about doing committee stuff, I agreed with you. Let's be real here. Number 3 overall pick. He's getting the touches. The moment you tell me he's hurt and they've been talking about not giving him touches, at that point, I start to buy into it a little bit. And I've been drafting a lot of best ball drafts in the offseason. I've been drafting a lot of Love because I generally share your sentiments of they're going to give the guy the rock. I do think the injury leads me to question how many touches he gets in weeks 1, 2, and 3. But that's a large portion of the regular fantasy season to the point where I'm a little concerned.
You gotta expect that with him, though. I tell folks all the time, I say, look, you had to draft in Jahmyr Gibbs his rookie year. You had to be patient those first few weeks, right? The week 1, they played the Chiefs. He barely touched the ball, but when he did, we was like, oh, man, we got it. This guy got the ball. So he got it a little more every week, and then David Montgomery missed, and then we saw what he could do. And Jahmyr Gibbs, despite sharing the touches, was a top 8 running back as a rookie. I see the same path for Jeremiah Love.
Are we not going to talk about Jeremiah Love looking exactly like Adrian Peterson the other day? No, I mean the way he was running.
the upright,
Yeah,
Listen, I picked him,
but like
so keep this going.
No, okay, two things about Love. One is the team called it a high ankle sprain off the bat, so it's got to be bad. Okay, like team.
No, first they said it was sore.
Yeah, first
Well,
they
did
said,
say
oh, he actually could have came back in the
They said it
game. You
was
know
sore.
that, right?
But
then he
but the
shows up
fact-
at the practice facility the next day or 2, and they go, ooh, that's not good.
But the fact that we know for sure, right, like within a day that it's a high ankle sprain, like usually they say mid to high. Low,
Low,
the
it's
lowest,
so low.
the lowest in medical history.
It's in the foot,
you know,
basically. It's in the toes.
But they're saying, and you know, he was what do you call it? Not horse collar, but
Hip
Looked
drop.
like he was doing,
was hip dropped.
Hip drop.
Denny was like doing a loofah there.
It was the loofah tackle. No, I mean he was hip dropped, and that's really unfortunate. I think this could linger on, but he looks so good that I feel like he should be taken in the second round. Maybe not where Pat did, but somewhere in there.
Kyle, who did you just take?
I took Rashee Rice. I was looking at.
Worst pick of the draft so far, but explain it. What's your thought?
He
process?
autoed. He literally autoed.
Sometimes you have to make bad
Yeah, but it's still a
picks.
better pick.
Sometimes you have to make bad picks. Why'd you make this bad one?
I mean, I think we are getting a tremendous discount on Rashee Rice, who last year was a top 5 real-life scoring fantasy wide receiver on a points per game basis. Right now, I know we say this all the time. As of right now, Rashee Rice is slated to play 17 games of football this year. And you get a player who was a top 5 fantasy asset when he was playing, and then you get to take him in the 3rd round. That's the kind of discount I want. If I had to take him where he scored as a first-round pick, I'm probably not doing that. I think the risks are real. Are they real in the 3rd round, where he can be a player who truly wins your league? They're not real enough for me to not take him in the 3rd round.
As you know, compelling case. I'm a conservative drafter. When I hear things, you don't understand. These 6 games 2 years ago, or these 5 games last year, I tend to shy away from those. But Kyle makes an important point. Fantasy football, unfortunately, we could like wish for the sample sizes to be bigger all we want. They just never are going to be.
No.
Even for healthy players, 17 games is a small data set. You have to make big decisions based on small sample sizes in fantasy football. Rashee Rice highlights that perfectly. Lawrence, you're on the clock. You were reeling from auto drafting.
Yeah, and I'm seeing, you know, some of the receivers I like go off the board here. You took Devontae Smith. I just saw Zay Flowers go off. So I'm going to go back to running back here. We're gonna do that, and I'm going to avoid that. And then, so I'm going to go best player available and go Trey McBride here.
go.
I'm going to go with Trey McBride. This is a little unorthodox for me, but I'd rather take the best player who I know, like, for sure. It's the top of this position, 3rd round. Like, I'm not mad at it. I wouldn't have done it in the 2nd round, but I feel decent about it going to – not decent. I feel great. It's Trey McBride, you know. So.
And he goes significantly after Brock Bowers.
I was going to say, Lawrence, where are
Yeah.
you at? That's a big question in fantasy drafts this year. I feel like Trey McBride versus Brock Bowers. Most fantasy managers are answering it with Brock Bowers, who had a terrible 2025, forces beyond his control, including injuries. Trey McBride, see another guy where we're maybe just over-indexing regression. Like, we just all take it for granted. He can't match what he did last year, even if he did what he did 2 years ago.
You know what? He don't even have to match it. And matter of fact, he told me he might not, but he still was like,
Never mind. I'm out. Yeah, never mind. We're out.
I'm just gonna flex a little bit. I'm just gonna flex a little bit. He was kind of modest. He was like 100 catches, 1,000 yards. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm on the clock
You're
again.
back up again. Yeah, I got you very wound up.
I definitely don't want to go.
I can tell you have thoughts.
I do on McBride, on the whole Cardinals offense. So, you know, last year, I hate to harp on play volume, but I actually wrote about it for Rotoworld if folks want to check it out recently. The Cardinals were like off the charts in play volume, in offensive play volume, I should say, because terrible defense, no running game, I guess they'll have a running game this year when Jeremiah Love is healthy and ready to go.
Listen, that high ankle sprain, it's not that high.
but look, though, this is why I like Jeremiah Love, right? If they're in those situations, which running back do you think the Cardinals are going to prefer? I think it's Jeremiah Love.
No, for sure. But as far as McBride goes, like he ran like 2.5 games worth of routes more than the next guy. In as far as tight end routes go. Like that makes a huge difference. It's not that he was ultra efficient. Of course, you can't be ultra efficient when you're running that many routes. What I'm saying is you take down those routes a little bit. I understand why Bowers is going before him. This time 13 picks ahead of him. I actually think that is warranted.
Wow. Yeah. Now it's time for the silence portion of the draft. I'm just gonna sit here
and as far as Bowers go, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on how Fernando Mendoza looked in the preseason game the other day, and then and immediately the talk of can he catch Cousins to be QB1? Does that mean that it's just a matter of time, matter of weeks before he's?
It's always been the case.
Always has been.
I'm definitely not a preseason week 1 take artist. I've always felt like they should start this guy, especially based on the veteran that you have, right? It's Kirk Cousins, right? And he's hurt more often now. When you look at Carson Beck and Jacoby Brissett, that situation, like Jacoby Brissett is better than Kirk Cousins now, right? So I get that situation. But when you're the #1 overall pick, we've seen what you can do, and now we've seen what you can do in game action. It wasn't perfect, but it was plenty good enough for your first time being out there. Kubiak said it's Kirk Cousins' job to lose now. But that is a big thing.
For what Cousins is going to do in the next few weeks.
So that to me says that the door is open for Fernando to start week 1.
Absolutely. I would be stunned if the month of October comes around.
Yeah, we talked about it with Jeremiah Love. We're like, dude, you spent the #3 overall pick on this guy. What do you think is going to happen? Maybe not in week 1, maybe not in week 2, but by October. And the same argument applies to Fernando Mendoza, where it's not like they're sitting him behind this locked-in starter who's had so much success lately. It's Kirk Cousins, man. I do think it's possible that they slow play Mendoza, unlike previous #1 overall picks, with a game or 2 on the bench. I agree. October 1st is kind of the line I'd set.
At least Kirk Cousins has never arbitrarily lost his starting job to a first-round rookie quarterback before.
That's his thing now.
Sometimes you gotta start off from the jump. Like Cam Ward, your veteran was Will Levis.
Yeah.
So it's go time. So.
My thing is taking Emeka Egbuka. I just did it, even though I was mentioning the concerning injuries off the top.
You have the all-injured team.
I left off Emeka Egbuka. I just didn't want to talk. I didn't want to admit that. So I was going to take him. I took Emeka Egbuka here in the 4th round.
Yeah.
Is it too risky? He's someone we've debated a lot on the Rotoworld Football Show. Check it out all season long. Really, really great stuff from Denny, Kyle, and Lawrence. Hopefully myself as well. I took the plunge, though, here in round 4. Is that an appropriate balancing of risk-reward? Or was I focusing a little too much on what I hope will be the reward and ignoring the risk for now? Coach speak happens all August. I highly doubt he's truly questionable for week 1, but they did not guarantee he'd be ready for week 1. Was this too risky of a pick by myself?
I mean, he did drop a little below his ADP, I believe. So that it's not a bad pick in that sense. I mean, he could be somewhat limited. Those toe injuries are annoying. Like you guys know that. Like they
no one on this desk currently has a toe injury.
As a guy with a broken toe, you should know. and you aren't starting for the Bucs week 1.
Which toe is broken?
Do you guys want to see it?
Can we get camera 3?
Can we get an ISO on the foot?
Let's just do this.
Because I want to know which toe you have broken, then we can see which one Emeka Egbuka is dealing with and kind of compare, because y'all are similar type of athletes.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Same speed.
Yeah, same speed, agility.
It's all I can say is it's the toe that if I were an NFL player, I would be willing to cut it off.
Okay.
It's the second smallest
Ronnie
toe.
Lott.
Ronnie Lott action.
It's the second smallest toe
on my right foot. It's
I got to be honest, in my mind, it was the big toe. The way you were dramatizing it all, I was like, it's a big toe. It's clearly a big toe.
If it was a big toe, he'd be in a boot.
Speaking of drama, I'm on the clock, and Bashal Tootin is the top guy in the queue.
You can draft Tootin. You're not allowed to.
I'm actually not. I'm not allowed to draft Tootin because you know why? I'm drafting the even riskier version of Bashal.
I love it. I know what you're going to do.
Travion Henderson.
Oh, no, this isn't as good. I thought you were going to go with your guy, Bucky.
Yeah, me too.
No, Bucky, listen, fantasy football, you have to be willing to stare down past bad memories. I will do that with Bucky next year.
Once he goes at the 1-2 turn and just smash, you'll get hurt again.
Exactly. Bucky Irving, I'm not prepared to get hurt again for the second time there. I am prepared to get hurt for the first time with Travion. I was out last year. I just feel like it's really under-discussed, Lawrence, how good of a rookie year Travion. It was a very checkered, mixed.
900 rushing yards.
It had over 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Oh, there's been so much focus and conjecture in fantasy circles. The Patriots coaching staff, though, loves the little things Ramondre Stevenson does, except for fumbles constantly. And I just think a guy who had a pretty good rookie year in Travion Henderson, a veteran in Ramondre Stevenson who at some point will fumble his way out of the lineup. I think Travion is one of the biggest bargains. Apparently, no one agrees with me. Why am I wrong?
Well, I think Travion Henderson, to your point, his good rookie season, it was a lot of up and down, a lot of big runs, a lot of games where he had 15 yards, and then those touchdowns. Ooh, buddy, Ramondre Stevenson, he knows how to take away some of those. Speaking of risky running backs, I don't know how y'all feel about this. I actually don't care, but I'm going to take Jadarian Price right here with my 5th pick and not risking him in the 6th-round turn. So I'm going to take him now because I do believe he'll be the running back one of that team in very short order. Now, he didn't play in the first preseason game. Right now, George Halani is the guy who's, supposed to be competing with him for those touches, and he'll get his share, but Halani played way too much of that preseason game. They got other running. They could have took him out.
Yep.
He played way too much of that first preseason game for me to believe that Jadarian Price ain't going to be that dude.
Yeah.
Maybe not that 20-touch dude, but this is the type of player that's not going to need that. And again, 1st-round pick as a running back.
It depends on if he gets any pass-catching work in this offense.
Does it?
And
This part of the draft, he could just be a 2-down back.
Well, then he would need to run hot on touchdowns or something.
We're at the Quinshon Judkins portion of the draft.
I think Judkins would be more involved in the pass game, probably.
Denny, can I ask you something about Jadarian Price, where minor injury? It's being described as nondescript leg soreness. I was pretty in on Jadarian Price because he's a 1st-round pick. Anytime a running back goes in the real 1st round, I feel like you should just tune out most of the noise. Like, this team took this guy in the 1st round. He's going to get the ball a lot.
Yeah.
It's a minor injury for Jadarian Price. I found it to be a particularly concerning one because when you have a rookie that gets the nondescript soreness, to me what that screams is this is a guy that wasn't prepared for I don't mean this in like he might have thought he was prepared. I'm not trying to say he wasn't preparing or whatever, but a lot of times when rookies suffer these early soft tissue injuries, it's kind of like, oh man, like I didn't really realize how much different this truly is. That's where I'm kind of more concerned about Jadarian Price immediately suffering a soft tissue injury. Is just a big red
Do we know
flag
it's a
to me.
soft tissue?
It's
undisclosed.
Well, they were saying soreness.
Soreness.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, in the Hard Knocks episodes, the early ones, he looked like generational. I will say that.
So just keep that in mind, that when he...
I mean, look at the coaches for the Seahawks, the defensive players, they were all like, who is this kid?
You had Witherspoon saying... Yeah. Like, damn, that kid is fast, and he's the guy.
He had some words I can't repeat on air to describe what Jadarian Price was doing.
Go for it.
If you don't want to keep your job,
Producer Steven, you ready? So I don't mind Price there. I wanted, if I could, to speak about my favorite thing, which is my own team. So I took.
Is it good?
It's good. It's looking good.
No. Lawrence, that's a rhetorical question.
Let me be clear. It's good. DeAndre Swift, I took in the 4th round. Now,
awful.
Now, I wouldn't usually do that, but Kyle Monangai is going to be out for a while, and also Kyle Monangai's not good. Okay, so they're not good. No, it's not.
This guy out of here.
He didn't check any boxes last year. I know everybody. Look, I wanted to like him.
This is the box.
He checked production boxes. He produced.
No, listen, producer.
He would run you over right now.
Roll the I'm not going to tackle him.
We have another Braylon Allen situation.
Hey, look, I'll tell you this, Denny. You won it with Braylon Allen before you won it with Kyle Monangai. I'll tell you that.
I don't think so. I think I'm taking Monangai.
Monangai, short and stocky.
I guess we've shouted Denny down long enough. He can try to explain.
Yeah. Let me explain. So this is a run-heavy Bears offense. It's going to remain run-heavy. I don't care what Ben Johnson says about we want more than the Super Bowl. We want to break the Broncos' scoring record from 2013. They're not going to do that.
You don't care about
give me a
that?
break. Give me a break. I mean, come on.
It sounds amazing.
You know, that's just a I need the clicks situation. So, and thank you for the clicks, by the way, Ben.
You think an NFL coach? He actually does. He got addicted to going viral.
Yeah, he likes going viral.
Just all it takes is taking his shirt off one time.
Saying the F word one time.
Yes, yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know, he's an influencer like a lot of coaches, so he likes to be online. Anyway, DeAndre Swift is going to see a pretty big workload here and catch balls out of the backfield. I think he's one of the best ADPs right now as far as running backs go.
I don't know if this is, I took a conservative pick.
It was a bad pick, I'll be honest.
Was it? You think a best ball bro thought Jalen Warren was a bad pick?
I think it was specifically a bad pick because if you want we don't know how many touches he's going to get, but we think he's good. I want to shoot for the upside.
Well, look who was in my queue there.
He's in my queue too, so I don't think he'll make it back to me.
You guys don't share with the group.
Jonathan Brooks. I was deciding between Jonathan Brooks, Denny Carter. You're about to time out.
I got it.
Jonathan Brooks and Jalen Warren. I already had so much risk with Jeremiah Love and Travion Henderson that I wanted to try to bank some quote-unquote safer touches, if that's a thing that actually even exists in fantasy football.
I like the way you phrased the end of that question because I often think about, there's no way this running back gets passed on the depth chart. And week 5, I'm like, oh, I am in bad shape on the waiver wire. Who am I picking up? And I do think the idea of safe touches is a little overrated in that
it's illusory.
We would have said this about Chuba Hubbard last year, and then, Rico Dowdle has 2 of the most impactful games of the entire fantasy season, and then they stopped going to Chuba Hubbard as the lead back. His touches weren't safe, and they were taken by Rico Dowdle, who we had fun drafting Rico Dowdle. He's not some NFL star. He's a good player, but he's not a star. The touches are not always safe. So I think at the point in the draft you were at, there were other ways to get touches with a lot more upside. I did it with Tootin. I was going to do it with Brooks too, though, if you went with Tootin. And I just think we've seen enough of Jalen Warren that I genuinely think he's a truly good NFL back who has a 3-down skill set, but they don't want to use him in the 3-down skill set. He's a committee back, which they signed Rico Dowdle fitting enough to be in a committee and probably take a lot of between the tackles work with him. Once we know that that's the case, swing for the fences and still bank a few touches with guys like Tootin and Brooks.
Were you guys concerned with Jonathan Brooks' preseason debut?
No.
Like, a lot of the tweet reviews are like, he looks slow. He didn't look explosive.
That's the big thing that you said, tweets. Tweets. So that unqualifies, that disqualifies that right there.
Next question, please. Next question. We don't care.
But I will say this too, Rotopat. There was a time when J.K. Dobbins was out there, like limping, on a 44-yard run.
Quite literally limping
against the Steelers.
So who am I to say? Like, I don't know what that's like and how his body will. But the Panthers feel good about him right now.
It is weird though. Like for weeks and weeks, months even, all we've heard from Panthers beat writers and coaches is Jonathan Brooks looks explosive. He looks all the way back. He's planting. He's cutting. It looks 100%, right? And then he gets out there, and he looks like that.
That was weird.
It was strange. It was the opposite of Jeremiah Love, where I'm like, wait. Like, I'm not a film guy. I've never watched the game. But
He admitted.
the film guys didn't tell me he's Adrian Peterson. No one said that. And then I see him against the Raiders, and he's galloping over defenders.
Guys, I'm scrolling way down, by the way.
I scrolled way down.
I'm scrolling way down.
Oh, you don't like DK Metcalf, huh?
No,
You don't want a little bit of DK?
No, I went to a much safer quarterback situation. I scrolled down for Jordan Addison.
That's a good pick.
Do we feel any different about these Viking skill players now that we have certainty on the quarterback situation? Anybody have a strong take?
Well, how'd you feel?
You leaned back and exhaled, which signaled.
Yeah, well, how did we feel about Kyler last year with the receivers he had?
You had a good time, didn't you? You were saying how much you loved the first 5 weeks.
Right.
Because one guy named, there was this little baby in the oven who became born named Michael Wilson.
Wow, yeah.
And he wasn't born until Jacoby Brissett started playing quarterback. So you know what Justin Jefferson is going to do. We know Kyler can get him the ball.
Kinda. Are you sure?
Well, guys, here's
more than what he got last year.
Okay.
Here's what
More than what he got last year.
Here's what I think the Vikings discourse comes down to. Fantasy football, we have what is probably a bad tendency to fixate on the impact, the supposed impact coaches and play callers can make. I think if we're betting on Viking skill players, if we're betting on Kyler Murray, we're betting that Kevin O'Connell is like almost as big of a difference maker as like having a number one receiver would be. We're betting that Kevin O'Connell can quote unquote fix Kyler Murray, who's never had like a star offensive coordinator. I think that's what the Vikings, and just Denny, I see you thinking, and I'm just thinking, do we factor that in too much? People who are not on the field, play callers and coaches when we're making these decisions.
No, I don't necessarily think that. What I was mulling over the Vikings receiver situation, right? And I was thinking this, Justin Jefferson was in hell last year. Let's just be honest. Like one of the lowest catchable target rates in the league, like of one of the lowest of all time, of the modern era. So really ran cold. We all know that. You know that if you drafted Jefferson. Now, I said on the Rotoworld football show the other day that Jordan Addison has been working closely with Kyler Murray for months, okay? And since he was since he was traded to Minnesota. So that tells me that there might be some chemistry there. I think there is a possibility that we could be talking about is it 1A, 1B between Addison and Jefferson.
Also, by the way, you had it right the first time he was signed.
He was signed. Yeah. I'm sorry. But I should check Rotoworld more often. What I'm saying is it's not because Addison is as good as Jefferson. It's because I think, Kyler, there's a chance that Kyler targets him at a higher rate than we're used to. I'm not saying you can't trust Jefferson. What I'm saying is Pat's pick was good.
Wow, thank you very much. Yeah. Can you trust Jefferson, Lawrence?
Yeah, I would trust. I think we
lost seasons 2 of the past 3 years.
I think we saw, how a lot of times fantasy folks talk about ceiling and floor. He got put through the floor last season.
He did.
So as long as he above ground, we could work with that. Because despite all that, he was still a 1,000-yard receiver. Yeah. Now, 1,000 yards as a receiver isn't what it used to be, but it's still like, he actually still got 1,000 yards.
Lawrence, you're on the clock, 15 seconds left. Put through the floor, by the way. Let's get it trending. The nickname for Justin Jefferson, the Telltale Heart. The Zoomers will love it.
Yeah.
They'll understand it.
We'll recognize it from a SpongeBob episode, unironically. It's in a SpongeBob episode.
Okay, never mind. So, Lawrence, did you?
Oh, I got sniped.
Did you auto?
Nah, I was... whatever.
No, actually, I've seen
speaking of being in hell,
I've seen a video where you've said you've never been sniped.
No, I haven't been sniped.
You've never been sniped.
But I've been autoed.
Oh, again?
Bro. Tell us about it.
So I got Matthew Golden now, right?
All right. Lawrence's draft is over.
Well, you can go.
I would rather have taken KC Concepcion,
yes.
But that's for another day. The good thing about it is, hey, I got Christian Watson, who I actually like. He's in my starting, receiver, in my starting receiver slot. But Matthew Golden, if you had to ask me anything, here's the hope. Hey, they got rid of Romeo Doubs. Are you going to force the situation? That's really the only hope, because this is not the Packers offense doesn't have heavy pass volume. In fact, they want to do the opposite of that. I think Jaden Reed would even be, a more decent play here. So, yeah, there we go. 14 picks, I'm up, and I will make a comeback.
I'm on the clock without any plan whatsoever right now.
I will say, just as far as Jefferson goes, if I can throw in a little stat here, to tell you how inefficient his season was, and like Lauren said, he eclipsed 1,000 yards. He ranked outside the top 50 in receivers in fantasy points per route run. And that's really strange for him. He's usually well inside the top 10, sometimes inside the top 5.
So, by the way, Yahoo is grading these picks as we go. I just took Kyle Monungai. Gave me a C for that.
Yeah, because he's hurt.
He's got a hyper.
Why are you picking everybody's hurt?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Listen, earlier in the show, when I said let someone else have the injury optimism.
You did say that, didn't you?
Someone else I was talking about was me.
You were trying to save us.
Yeah, I was trying to protect you guys from yourself. I took Kyle Monungai. I don't know.
Oh, man. Is Corum gone? Gosh.
Corum, Denny, he went in the second round.
Wait, how long is Kyle Monungai out for a while, right?
It's in multiple weeks on Rotoworld.
Yes.
Oh, multiple.
It's August 18th. Or I don't know what day it is, actually. I'm not sure
if he played week 2 or 3, you're all right.
It's also a late start to the season this year.
He's playing week 1.
A few days.
The season is starting on Halloween
So,
on NBC.
So so nobody likes Matthew Golden in fantasy?
No.
We're out. And for that reason, dog, I'm out.
So I was about to pick Jalen Coker. It was just too late. I like Jalen Coker more.
Honestly, Jalen Coker, you talk about floor and ceiling. Coker, I think, much higher floor. Golden, it's purely theoretical. I do think the theoretical ceiling for Matthew Golden has to be higher than his. What is Jalen Coker's ceiling truly supposed to be with Bryce Young? I just don't.
Not Matthew Golden's.
No,
he would need like a Tedoroa McMillan injury, I think, to get there, to get to that ceiling. Well, Matthew Golden is too big to fail, I think, in Green Bay. Like, they have said.
He didn't have any trouble with that last year. So.
No, what I'm saying is, like,
they had motivated reasoning with him last year.
No, they made moves this year that it was like, look, you're going to have to sink or swim, young man.
He's starting receiver for the Green Bay Packers.
I agree with you that they are setting him up to be, if he is truly good, we will know right away.
Yeah.
Because they're giving him every chance to do so. I'm a little skeptical that he does.
I'm going to just do like people do. I'm going to talk myself into my pick. Make myself believe first, then make you all believe it too.
Producer Steven said in my ear, Tedoroa went in the 5th round. There's no steam. We've talked about this on the show. There's like truly.
Was that you?
I got it.
Truly no. Denny, there's
he didn't make it to me.
no hype on Tedoroa this year for a guy who had a sensational rookie year.
I don't see him as a, like, major ceiling play because of the nature of the Carolina offense. It's just not ever going to be pass heavy, and that's okay. You kind of have to accept that. He wasn't targeted on a particularly high percentage of his routes. I think it was like 22%. That's not great. I can take that though. I can take him as my my wide receiver 3, I believe.
Wow.
I feel good about that because I have Pickens, Neighbors, McMillan, and Downs right now as my receivers, and I think I'm good with that.
Got Emeka Ibuka hurt. Jeremiah Love hurt. Kyle Monangai hurt.
A lot of guys we talking about being hurt today, though, they'll be out there week 1.
My new tight end hurt. George Kittle.
Well, Denny took
Risk
Sam
reward.
Laporta. That's like drafting a hurt tight end.
Hey, he's back.
I took George Kittle, kind of a panic pick. The one player we've been drafting so far today that I felt genuinely like, oh man, I really wish I had not missed out on him. I was one pick away from Colston Loveland. I ended up settling for George Kittle later on. I don't even want to talk about Kittle, though. We talked about Brock Bowers versus Trey McBride. I think another big question is right there in Tier 2 at tight end, Colston Loveland versus Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren got off to such a good start last year. It seemed miles ahead of Colston Loveland. People are like, man, the Bears kind of screwed up with this pick. By the end of the year, of course, it's all Colston Loveland. Where do we come down on Colston Loveland versus Tyler Warren? Because talk about a team clearing the depth chart. We talk about the Packers and Matthew Golden. The Colts have done it for Tyler Warren. And the Bears, Denny, you always point out, like, where are the pass attempts supposed to come for the Bears? I feel like Tyler Warren is a potential league winner.
Tyler Warren is, you look at the first 10 weeks that he had, like it took Daniel Jones' play start to fall off a little bit, then he got hurt, and it was pretty much over for him. But I feel like with the Bears, each of those pass catchers, they're all going to have their weeks or their days where they're the guy that week. With the Colts, you got Michael Pittman out of there, and it's like, oh, who he could lead the team in targets, Tyler Warren. And I'm going to actually make my pick this time. And I think this pick in Keaton Mitchell pretty much pretty much makes up for me picking Matthew Golden.
We're here for you, Denny. We're here for you.
Hey, I appreciate your thoughts and prayers.
Lawrence,
I love
Keaton
the
Mitchell is like Denny's favorite click on the board.
Yeah, man, I see why. And especially after, if you had to look at preseason week 1 winners from guys who didn't play, it's him.
Yeah.
Because he didn't play. They rested him like a starter. We know Amari Hampton's going to be the guy, but the fact that we know Mike McDaniel want to use him, the fact that we've seen him being used in the passing game, that's how I think he wants to, do it. Get him out there in space. If he's a guy who get 10 touches, he's explosive and efficient enough to where he could make something out of that. And we saw small sample sizes of that when he was in Baltimore.
He's going to have weekly value and some contingency upside. He's not going to be ever a 20-plus touch guy, too small for that. I think one knock against him is like, well, he wasn't involved in the pass game in Baltimore. My contention would be the Ravens were not interested in using him properly.
Now, why would that be?
Because the Ravens, they were Derrick Henry, defense, run first type of offense. They weren't interested.
He's also hurt a lot. He's
a guy
in and out
like
the
Mitchell.
lineup.
Oh, I was worried he was healthy.
And Mike McDaniel, which I've said many times on the show.
You looked at like you were addressing the camera like you also have beef with Mike McDaniel.
Mike, I know what you did. You had a cutout of Keaton Mitchell with a wanted ad on it, and you put it on the locker room.
This is not a joke, by the way.
This is not a bit.
Something that has been told to us by
He did that
or
before
video.
free agency. That within 10 seconds of free agency starting, Keaton Mitchell was a Charger. They paid him real money. It all means something.
He had just been watching a Westerns marathon on TMC. I wouldn't read too deeply into it.
I didn't know that. I will say. So we're looking into that.
What I would read deeply into, this is a quote-unquote experts league. We are all paid to do this. And experts.
Wait, you guys are getting paid?
In experts leagues, it's like a game of chicken. Who can take a quarterback last? Very few quarterbacks have come off the board. Only 5 or 6. We're in round 10. Joe Burrow is still
Shout out to
there.
the 5 or 6 that took quarterbacks. They play scared. So I hope it's not one of you guys. We play fantasy football like men. That's what we
I think
do.
it literally was not any of us as far as I'm checking the boards.
I'm
yeah.
about to change. Lawrence, you're on the clock, by the way. You have 7 seconds.
Oh,
You got this, bud. No, go.
So let's look where Josh Allen
Oh, he
went.
got picked already.
Oh, no.
Oh, and because you timed out, you took Joe Burrow from me. Now I don't have a pick to make.
I'll live with that.
I was going to take Joe Burrow.
He was a good pick in this round.
He was
I
a
think
good
it's very
Because
clearly
it was
this
going to
round.
be, so I was going to go Caleb Williams or Burrow, but I was ready to click KC, but I saw that he was drafted, and so I didn't get KC Concepcion. So congrats to whoever did, and whoever did probably has a quarterback.
So what do we tell people watching at
Right.
home? Is it still the play, Denny, to let someone else take the quarterbacks? You don't even consider a quarterback till it reaches double-digit rounds.
It depends. I hate to say this because I sound mealy-mouthed, and I don't like to sound mealy-mouthed. But I will say that Josh Allen going at 3-6 here, right? Now, in your office league, Josh Allen's going to go
Yes.
in the first or second round, okay? Like, that's just how it's going to be. But he goes at 3-6 here. I don't think it's necessarily a bad pick. When you look at where Jaden Daniels goes at 7-8, right?
I will take that.
I'd take that over the third round. When you look further down the board, Joe Burrow going at 10-3, right? That, it makes you wonder. It makes you question, like I know Josh Allen's going to outscore everybody. Like that's locked in. But
I believe he has 5 of the past.
but
6 years.
you're paying all the way up. Lamar, I think, still has a chance to outscore Josh Allen. He's going 2 or 3 rounds after.
What round did he go this? Had to be 5th.
5-2.
All right, so
2 rounds.
So the way I'm approaching it this year, because I actually ended up picking Lamar in the 5th round. That's my cutoff right there. I'm taking no quarterbacks before. Hey, if Josh Allen is in the 5th round, never going to happen. But if he is, I'll be happy to do that. But so would anybody else in your league. But like you said, Denny, I'd rather go with a 7th, 8th round with a Jaden Daniels because all you got. Look, he got hurt last year, but we know he could put 900 rushing yards out there. We know he's the type of guy who could also throw for 30 touchdowns. So I'll take that 4 or 5 rounds later than having to pay up for Josh Allen, even though we know Josh Allen is going to give us double-digit rushing touchdowns.
Lawrence hinting at an important fantasy truism that every player at a certain ADP is the right.
It's worth it.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's a bargain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow in the 10th was that for me. Of course, the second he went, I then immediately pivoted off quarterback and did not. take
I did the
quarterback.
same thing.
It's a tearjerop after him.
Earlier.
Burrow is more so a pocket
Is it a
passer.
teardrop between Burrow and Dak Prescott? Because I kind of pod them in my
I
head.
don't think so.
But I don't know.
If you put
I like
Dak's-
Dak. I got
if
Dak,
You,
so.
If you put Dak's
Wow, Denny
best
admitted
years with
Denny takes
Burrow's
quarterback.
best years, they're similar. They're both 4,500 yard, 35 to 40 touchdown guys. With both of them got 2 very good wide receivers.
I took, by the way, it was the 10th round. I admit it. I took Travis Hunter.
Why'd you do that?
Not mad at it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I actually don't know. Is it good or bad?
You took the best receiver on the team. Congratulations. Now,
Wow.
now
I love the energy.
If you could become the best wide receiver in college, you could become the best receiver in the NFL, right? That don't mean he's going to lead the team in the receiving yards and receptions and all that good stuff, but you're talking about like like actually playing, like, yeah, I would take Travis Hunter. I don't know if the Jaguars are going to take Travis Hunter in that same sense, but
yeah. I mean, but that's the thing is like, is he going to run 50% of the routes? Probably not.
Does anything change with the Parker Washington injury news?
I mean, if it's serious, then yes, but it doesn't seem super serious.
Doesn't sound serious enough for you to be moving ADPs.
Probably not. I do think, like Lawrence talked about, like, we're still so far away from the regular season starting. A lot of these guys, like, you've been in the NFL for 2 years, you can miss a few practices. It's perfectly acceptable for, like, Mike Evans missed the first week or so of training camp. He wasn't seriously hurt. He's Mike Evans. Give him a week off. And I think with a guy like Parker Washington, who was in the system last year, he's been with the team for a few years, there's no reason to rush him back to the field. But I think it sort of illuminates a better point where if anyone on this offense gets hurt, whether it's BTJ, whether it's Parker Washington, whether it's Jakobi Meyers, we could see an immediate uptick in Travis Hunter's snaps. And Lawrence, to your earlier point, he was really good in college and they took him with the number 2 overall pick. I think his ceiling is sky high. I think his floor isn't, maybe he just plays a lot of defense and he's not really a usable fantasy asset. But at this point in the draft, when you can get guy was a number 2 overall pick kind of ceiling, you just do that. I love the pick.
A truism I've made up that Lawrence dissented at is that anything that happens once can happen twice.
I think
he became the best player.
Speaking of that, do we not think BTJ is good anymore?
Well, he's going to be a volatile downfield guy. I mean, he's not.
I think all they need is Mac Jones back.
Well, and
please.
I'm cutting everyone off. I'm cutting everyone's mic. And I think what has happened in Jacksonville is, to Denny's point, I'm kind of dovetailing with you, BTJ does not fit with Trevor Lawrence's game. So they keep bringing in underneath guys, and like, that's weird that Jakobi Meyers was immediately their best receiver. Then they feature Parker Washington. That's weird that Parker Washington then immediately. Even before Travis Hunter got hurt, he was actually producing. They were featuring him much more like in the slot. Trevor Lawrence is not throwing the ball down the field. He's just not doing it. And I think it is very bad news for BTJ.
Yeah, well, very bad in that you're not going to get what you had as a rookie, where he was actually seeing some intermediate looks that kind of gave him a weekly floor, right? So you had those locked in. That was good. You weren't going to get like a dud from him. And then the explosive plays gave him a massive ceiling. I still think he has the ceiling. I don't know if he has the weekly floor, which makes him, I think, more of a flex. I'm not saying that like he's undraftable where he's going. I don't think he is. But just know what you're getting. And you're not getting a guy who's going to give you like 12 PPR points. It's going to be like 3 or 25.
Lawrence, should we consider Brian Thomas Jr. like a Christian Watson type player at this point?
Right now, yeah. I mean, I think you have to.
Like 4 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. Like, what we want?
It sounds.
Give me 17 weeks then, we're good.
That sounds so depressing for a player with his talent. It's actually
I agree
crazy.
I mean,
it's actually crazy. By the way, I just made up for that Matthew Golden pick by taking Deebo Samuel. And I will do it again by taking another one of Denny's guys. Actually, no, I won't, because he just went off the clock. So I'm going to pivot here and go running back. Jen just took Adonai Mitchell. I was looking at him.
I was too.
I like that pick around this time.
I almost took Adonai like each of the past 2 rounds.
But you
Round 7 came around and you're like, I've got an idea.
I'm not even kidding. I kind of camera choked. Like, I didn't want to be seen as the guy. Like, I thought that Pat said he got paid for
We
this.
have to stop being ashamed of the A.D. Mitchell stuff, okay? But A.D. Mitchell was top 2 in air yards last year over the second half of the season.
That's all the time we have.
Only Michael Wilson had more, and Michael Wilson only had it because Jacoby Brissett said, like, F it, he's down there somewhere, Sorry.
You don't think there were any extenuating circumstances?
What round would Adonai Mitchell go in if we got points for air yards?
First. He'd be the 8th pick off the board. Okay. So no, and I know, nobody wants to hear about air yards, but it's a real opportunity, and he has an upgraded quarterback. I know Geno Smith was bad last year, but you have to say that he is an upgraded quarterback.
It sounded like you're going door to door selling encyclopedias. No one wants to hear about this.
When you talk about getting into I actually did content speaking about Adonai Mitchell recently is one of those deep round sleeper guys, so I don't hate it at all. Geno Smith could still throw the ball down the field. That's what Adonai Mitchell's going to be doing. Garrett Wilson will catch everything else, so it's a nice double-digit round pick.
I'm on the clock here in the 12th round. Reminder to all of our drafters here, and definitely to everyone watching at home, we are drafting kickers and defenses.
We are.
A lot of the leagues we're in have shed kickers. Most have shed kickers. Some have even shed defenses. I don't think that's smart. I think you should keep defenses.
No, defense has got to go. Kickers should stay.
We're taking kickers and defenses.
You just take a defensive player.
So I'm letting you know you have to take kickers and defenses. But we're in round 12. I still need a quarterback. Nothing's ever felt more wrong than this. I'm taking Jared Goff over Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
What?
Jared Goff
Buddy.
is maybe the most I can't say the word. Annually underrated player in fantasy football. He has a 40 touchdowns are within his range of outcomes. I would say like a 25th percentile outcome for him. Like 1 in 4 chance he has a 40 touchdown season. He plays over half his games indoors. He has probably the best overall skill core in the entire NFL. I just think we need to come to terms. It took me a long time to come to terms with the fact that Jared Goff is good.
Me too. No, and last year.
Good for fantasy. I'm not implying his actions.
I actually think he's good in that way too. I think he's good. Just keep the pressure from around him, and he will dice you up.
That's true. Yeah, without pressure. By the way, I just took Kayshon Boutte, the Patriots wide receiver 1, in the 14th round or whatever we are, 13th round. Look, if you are skeptical, check out Rotoworld.com. Search up Kayshon Boutte, and you'll see some nice reports from him.
On the Mahomes-Goff thing, I will say, I think Goff's been in the NFL for a little over 10 years, right around 10 years. Never thrown 40 touchdown once. He's come close a few times. It's not like it's not entirely without of the range. But would you say Patrick Mahomes has that type of ceiling to potentially throw a lot of touchdowns? Is it something he's done before?
You guys know
He was a top 8 fantasy quarterback last year.
I defended Mahomes till my dying breath. That my reincarnated version of Patrick Daugherty no longer does it.
I think as many times as Denny's mic has been cut this episode, I think it's time we do yours.
Yeah, you got to cut it.
For what?
Jared Goff over Patrick Mahomes.
Listen,
Just not going to fly here.
Now, it's a sin against nature, but it's also going to help my fantasy team. It's going to help my fantasy team.
And for wanting Joe Burrow and ending up with Jared Goff, that's just got to be.
Hey, you know what we call Jared Goff around here? Joe Burrow actually stays on the field. Right? That's what we call him around here.
All right, I'm taking Jonah Coleman late here.
I like it.
I'm happy for you.
Is it actually the first pick Denny has announced? We're like, oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, and Sean, I don't know if you saw.
He was quiet about the other one.
Sean Payton. No, I'm very proud of my team. One of the best teams anyone has ever drafted. Jonah Coleman didn't play a whole lot in the Broncos preseason game, and when Sean Payton was asked about it, apparently Sean Payton's not running the offense, but we'll see about that. He did say, look, I've seen what I need to see. He's seen enough.
Wow.
In a good way, in a positive way. He's seen enough. He knows Jonah Coleman can
Is that a singer?
Catch passes. Joni Mitchell.
Like the Jonas Brothers, I thought.
Joni Mitchell. I take her on every fantasy team.
The Zoomers know all about it.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, Kyle, okay.
Sorry, Gen Z.
We'll talk about it in a second. I've got a plan.
Coleman is the one guy I'm interested in because J.K. Dobbins, between the 20s guy, lots of touches maybe, but I don't know about actual fantasy points. R.J. Harvey, pass-catching guy, design plays, that's cool. I don't really know if he has a ceiling. Jonah Coleman is the guy I think who could emerge here.
I just took Pat Bryant. That's the only statement on it. That's fine.
I'm literally right now at this point, I'm 3 picks away from making the best pick in this whole draft.
Really? Jaden Blue?
Let's see.
I wanted to
Maybe.
I wanted Jaden Blue, but I over
2 picks away from making the best pick
overweight
in this
on running
fantasy
backs.
draft.
I'm overweight on running backs, so I couldn't take the play. Defense has gone off the board, by the way. I believe Ian
Tyrone
Hurts.
Tracy, we're 1 pick. Let me find a pivot here. Let me find Trey Tucker. Nah, that's not the pivot.
We're done.
Okay, we're gonna get
talking,
him.
by the way.
We're gonna get him. All right. So with the 154th pick in the 13th round here, I'm gonna go with kicker Brandon Aubrey.
Oh man.
This is 15 rounds.
That's actually kind of sick.
If you've ever had a league where you get Brandon Aubrey or like the kicker of the year, there's no better feeling. Like Brandon Aubrey out for a 55-yarder, and you're just like it's at the bottom of the net.
I'm dancing at that point. This is a 15-round draft. You're making me draft kickers. I'm gonna try to get the best one here because I know for a fact I wasn't getting them in the 14th round. So the receiver that I like in 14th round and 15th, he'll be there. There'll be a couple of them there. but not Brandon Aubrey. Not anyone with that boot and his toe ain't broken like Roto Pats.
Yeah, I'm healing quickly. I'm also currently a very high T activity. I'm scanning defensive matchups for week 1.
I did too. I was doing the same thing.
Oh.
And we have some good ones. I'll talk about it in a minute. I wanted to say with kickers, folks, I'm the resident kicker guy, if you didn't know. What you're looking for is a positive offensive environment. What I mean by that is if a kicker is attached to an offense that's likely to have a lead or at least be a neutral game script for most of the game, then you want that kicker on your team because that means that the kicker is more likely to continue to attempt kicks late into the second half instead of the team saying, we have to go for it on 4th down at the 20-yard line or whatever, we have to score touchdowns. You want that positive game script. So that's what you look for when you're streaming kickers.
Think about the Houston Texans. They are the kicker's paradise.
Yes.
They're up
Yes.
20-10 in the 4th quarter,
Right.
and it's 4th and 1 at the 25, and they're like, field goal time. Send out Jaime Fairbairn, and he's the perfect archetype of you don't even need to have the best offense in the NFL. Just having a lead late in a game.
And a good defense, honestly.
The good defense is very helpful. It's been great for Jaime Fairbairn. So I don't want to get too deep into the kicker weeds, but I do think you've hit on a good point. I know you do. Yeah.
Denny, that's one way to draft kickers or to start kickers or whatever. Another, do you just look at the game total?
Totals matter. Totals matter for sure.
Yeah.
I do, but if it's lopsided, if it's a team is a 7-8 point favorite, you definitely don't want to take the team that's a dog going into that game, even if the total's high. So you got to watch for team totals. You got to watch for, and Kyle makes a good point. It's why like Jason Myers was good throughout last year because the Seahawks defense was nails, right? And so the team had no reason to bypass field goals late in the game. It's just something to watch for, something to think about when you're thinking about weekly kickers.
You're also looking at domes as an important factor in kicking.
Weather is important. Don't roll out your kicker in Cleveland or Chicago after Halloween.
True. So a defense, all I'm looking for. So I took Jeremiah Love, but all I'm looking for in defense is who's playing the Cardinals.
That's the play.
I don't know.
Chargers.
I don't know because the Cardinals could lose by 17 points but score 30.
They could, which does hurt you.
Score
but
20. I'll say 20. 30 is heavy.
I like to look, even if it's a high-scoring game, I like to look at a defense that'll be playing with a lead, the other team's throwing. I'm just looking for fumbles, sacks, interceptions.
Kobe.
So the Cardinals, even if they score 28 points, they're probably going to lose, 41-28. Jacoby's dropped back 44 times.
He threw 23 TDs, 8 picks. It's not bad.
Pretty good interception percentage. He's going to take 4 sacks. He's indestructible, so he just takes sacks.
Probably will get sacked.
Indestructible. Yeah, when you think about for running backs, our major volume metric is carries. Targets also apply. For tight ends and wide receivers, we're looking at targets. If defenses had a volume metric, it would be opponent dropbacks because, like you said, those are the things that can score fantasy points. Much like targets aren't necessarily a fantasy point stat, they're but the potential for fantasy points. So the Cardinals are the perfect team to be playing against because the quarterback's not great. He's not bad, but he's not great. He's not like Mahomes, where if Mahomes drops back 40 times, you should have drafted him, by the way. If Mahomes drops back 40 times, I'm kind of afraid he's just tearing my defense apart. If Jacoby Brissett drops back that many times, I'm thinking my defense has probably just scored a lot of points.
But I was just trying to entrap all of you, by the way, into finally admitting Mahomes is good.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked fairly easily, too. It
worked too well. By the way, I another streamer week 1 option as far as defenses go, the Steelers. I took the Steelers. They're at home against the Falcons. I like their odds of, sacking Tua a few times.
Chicago Bears on the road against the Carolina Panthers.
That's not bad.
I was circling that one.
Yeah.
But the Steelers versus the Falcons. That's.
Oh, I'm on.
I mean, if you got Kirk Cousins starting week 1, there versus the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that game total is just going to be probably one of the lower ones. That point total will be.
It's hard to be under 40 in week 1. Dolphins Raiders will be.
You could
under
probably
40.
look at maybe both of those defenses that week. So if I don't get the one that I want here, I'll look at one of those.
I am on the clock to take a kicker, by the way.
Yeah, those are not. So the Chargers would be my preference. And you mentioned that game could be high scoring. The Cardinals could score a lot of points. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Chargers defense can't score points along with that because you have, a high drop back game for Jacoby Brissett that equals sacks, that equals turnovers. I don't think that should push you off at too much. I like the Chargers a lot.
Denny, not too often that you easily win a draft in the 15th round.
Yeah.
I just did.
Yeah.
I took Mizzou great, Harrison Mevis, known as the thicker kicker.
The thicker kicker?
Yeah.
Now the Los Angeles Rams kicker. They put
respect it.
very comfortable. This is a Super Bowl or bust team. They were very comfortable last year putting games on his shoulders, like Harrison.
I know, man.
The ball
They
game.
really were.
I took Harrison Mevis in the 15th.
Hopefully he's still thick. You know,
I know.
I haven't seen him.
You know, no, this is not a joke. He one time slimmed down a little bit at Mizzou, and it didn't go
Disaster.
well. It was like when a pitcher loses weight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you don't want that.
no, you don't want that. So Harrison Mevis is my kicker. My draft is complete.
Yeah, mine is too. I got Cam Little, importantly.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I was upset, honestly,
Who?
when he got Cam Little. I kind of knew you were going to do it. But
Give me, with my last pick, the new and improved Cowboys defense versus the Giants in Week 1.
That's good.
I was
Give
circling
me
that
that.
one.
That's a good
I'll
one.
take that. Quinnen Williams in there. He just. We got Clark paired with him. That's probably one, of, if not the best, top interior D line in the league. We'll see what their back end does, but I like them to get after the quarterback this year.
We're going to recap our teams in a few minutes here, but Lawrence hitting on like a pretty important fantasy football talking point. Like, not a great sign for the New York Giants that Lawrence is streaming a defense against them in Week 1. And just where are we coming down on the level of disaster that the Giants are right now?
we know it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Just put it on a
Will,
scale.
yeah, I think a lot of us do think
Right.
it's going to be a disaster. Where are you at on that scale, Denny? You leaned forward. You're like in an
Yeah, look,
attack position.
I'm generally bearish on Matt Nagy offenses. Okay,
That served you well for the past few years, too. He's like ruined Mahomes' career, so you're kind of batting 100 on him.
Right. So thank you, Matt, if you're listening. I do want to say I think Neighbors can survive that environment just because he's such a target hog and target commander.
Only game in town type of deal.
Yeah, and so as long as he's healthy, which he seems healthy, Rotop has been telling us this for months, he should be fine. I think Jackson Dart can get away with it if he rushes a lot. Now he says he's going to try to slide more, except for on 3rd and 4th downs and near the goal lines and when it's a full moon and when the wind is blowing southwest, then he's going to take on the defender.
Never when it's blowing south.
Right, and so I think those guys can. I don't know. I think Scadaboo's kind of a bad pick right now.
He's shaping up as a bad pick.
Hey,
Kyle doesn't agree.
You are allowed to say that with your chest. Sorry, Kyle. I think it's going to be more of a running back by committee than we think. Didn't they just
Co-starters, Tyrone Tracy, Cam
co-starters? There was some unknown people with profile pictures not of themselves arguing with me about this.
Didn't know where
in
you were
the
going with
comments, and yeah, I can't do that. But then when I just respectfully put that blurb under our comments, now I'm this, now I'm that. I'm just like, hey, all I'm saying is when Cam Scadaboo missed, right, Tyrone Tracy came in and he was productive. I don't see the Giants just completely going away from that. Now, Tyrone Tracy may have let Jackson Dart get his head knocked off.
They immediately worked out Najee Harris. If you didn't see the preseason game, I've been told that he wasn't in pass pro for that set. He did make an attempt to stop an edge rusher. It looked like an edge rusher.
Yeah, you
Tyrone
have to know what the
Tracy-
play is.
You would have to
I don't know what the
is.
play was.
But Tyrone Tracy makes an attempt to stop an edge rusher from annihilating Jackson Dart, and he does not succeed.
Doesn't
maybe
succeed.
Maybe he was about to run a route, and he's like, I'm going to do what I can, even though it's not my job.
Zipping.
But if it was his job, or even if he could have helped, he got put on skates attempting to stop a pass rusher who then decapitated Jackson Dart. And within 24 hours, they worked out Najee Harris.
Yeah.
I do find that to be a very concerning sign for Tyrone Tracy, who lasted all of 1 week last year as the real starter. He maybe technically got credited with other starts, but Cam Scadaboo ate his lunch after 1 week. They saw one game of Tyrone Tracy and said, let's do 20 touches a game for Cam Scadaboo, which is why I feel good not about the offensive environment, but the fact that it's a different coaching staff. But the very first time Cam Scadaboo got on an NFL field, his team saw what he could do and had Tyrone Tracy and said, that's a 20-touch-a-game running back.
That was before a traumatic lower leg injury, lower body injury.
Yeah, the difference between Scadaboo and Tyrone Tracy is touchdowns last year. You look at their touches per game in the games that they started and finished. Scadaboo averaged 99 yards from scrimmage on 22 touches. Tyrone Tracy was 88 yards from scrimmage on 17 touches. So Tracy little bit, but that's the same thing. The difference fantasy-wise is if the Giants get down there, they're going to use the battering ram, and that's Scadaboo.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're going to recap our teams in just a minute. But, the draft has ended. There are some players who were undrafted. I don't know if you've heard about that. And we're going to pull up the list of the best players who are not drafted and just to see if anyone
we'll start the list with the best player in the NFL of my lifetime.
Let's see if anyone creates a pang or regret.
Wow.
Mahomes Mark Andrews.
I would have drafted Mark Andrews.
Oh, yeah. Should I just have taken Andrews straight up over Kittle? I mean, I would have never done that. But Mahomes going undrafted is, as a nation, a fantasy drafting public, we're overthinking it.
Who are you people?
I would say we're.
I don't know.
I had Joe Burrow, so
Wait, no. I mean, who?
Denny, people are taking Jared Goff. Mahomes.
I don't think that's a bad pick. I mean, ours is a game within a game. Like, if you want to win the Super Bowl, you probably get Mahomes. But if you want to score fantasy points, you get somebody else.
Who do you think scored more points last year on a per game basis? Mahomes or Goff?
It was not even close.
All right. Yeah, wow, Denny, they are, quote, getting us.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask. Why didn't you guys take Mahomes?
Yeah, everyone.
Because I took Burrow.
Everyone.
Okay.
Up here. First off, you didn't. You didn't take
but
him.
I got him on my team.
You didn't take
You chose.
My whole life would be different if you hadn't auto drafted Joe Burrow.
Because
I wouldn't be associated with Jared Goff.
look, if I didn't auto draft Burrow, which I'm completely fine with, by the way, I would have looked at Caleb Williams down the line. I would have looked at Patrick Mahomes. But who did y'all get at quarterback?
Dak Prescott.
Better than Goff.
So I wasn't ready for that response. Trevor Lawrence.
Awful pick.
Easily outscored Jared Goff last year.
But was it before or after?
It was after the Goff pick.
It was probably after the. Well, Trevor Lawrence, I'm hearing that he might throw for 30 touchdowns.
Wait, so actually, hold on, Pat. He let Patrick Mahomes go too, because he took Trevor Lawrence.
I took someone who scored evenly with Mahomes last year. I at least have you passed on him too. You were like, my guy scored better.
So,
but what if my guy?
Joe Burrow,
This is what I'm saying. Like, I know Mahomes wins Super Bowls, and that's awesome. Like, for Chiefs fans, I actually at the airport the other day, I was talking with a young Chiefs fan who had never experienced a season where they missed the playoffs. Okay, right, and 10 years old, 11 years old, and
You're just walking up to kids and talking to them at the airport.
Well, I was eating lunch, and he was sitting there with his dad, and we were talking football. He saw the NBC Sports thing on the back of my laptop, and yeah, so that's awesome for Chiefs fans. I think, coming off the knee injury, is Mahomes going to give you any rushing?
He has said he's not going to.
I'm going to say, if that's your, okay, I understand that.
He has said he's not going to run it. He said he ran too much last year, and he should run less.
Okay. And his downfield throwing hasn't been great. It hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been what it was when Tyreek Hill was around. And I don't know if they have the personnel to make him like an elite fantasy option.
Why are you explaining? You have Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
It's these two guys who should be doing the.
No. What I'm saying is, I think it's reasonable in a 12-team league that people let Mahomes go.
We need to pull up and look at our teams. I have one final question, though. Trevor Lawrence, his whole case in fantasy is based on rushing for 9 touchdowns last year. He actually was 4th or 5th in the league in passing touchdowns.
Other than that,
which tells you how much the ceiling is decreased on that league-wide. It was 9 rushing touchdowns an outlier for Trevor Lawrence.
You can't bank on that.
No, you wouldn't bank on it, but that's the difference.
You can bank on 5, though. 5, 6.
I think you can bank on 5.
That's how I feel. You can bank on 5 or 6. And I do think this is an offense that as they get more games from Travis Hunter, as they find out a better role from Brian Thomas Jr., I haven't been a huge Parker Washington Jr. drafter. I do think he really adds an element to this offense. We saw it at the end of the year last year that I think as they get improvements from a really young skill core, as Bashal Tutin gets more involved, Chris Rodriguez is a good addition to this backfield. You probably get more passing production from Trevor Lawrence to offset the difference between absolutely. He's going from 9 likely to 5 this coming year in rushing touchdowns.
Lawrence is pull up your team.
Although he does really depend on his legs, almost uncomfortable in that amount. So
everyone pull up Lawrence's team. We're gonna go through it with the scalpel.
No, Lawrence, what happened here?
Led by Joe Burrow.
So Lawrence, led by Joe Burrow. That's right, who you really wanted. Take us through it. What sticks out? Happy, sad, indifferent?
I'm
feel nothing?
probably because of the Kenneth Walker pick. where I probably would have taken Devon Achane. I was looking for Devon Achane because I know he could catch 70, 80 passes. I don't think Kenneth Walker does that. Although he does, he should become the lead back in the backfield. We just talked about Patrick Mahomes rushing less. Kenneth Walker should be wide. My receiver group is not strong, but what I'm banking on is that these guys get what they've gotten already. Garrett Wilson is an 1,100-yard receiver. 1,100-yard receiver. That's what guys like Zach Wilson. Michael Wilson's a 1,000-yard receiver. Can Christian Watson finally play double-digit games in the season? He could be 1,000 receivers. So yeah, I'm really leaning on my anchors here, and that's Trey McBride, Saquon Barkley, and really depending on Jadarian Price to be the Seahawks running back one early. Because if that happens, then the Kenneth Walker pick doesn't even matter. Kenneth Walker he would turn into the luxury. So overall, I'll find a way to make the playoffs, but I'm not about to just act like I just drafted the best team in fantasy history.
We're glad you brought up your receivers. We were actually I was texting from my computer. We were gonna have an intervention after the show about your receiver core.
But well, Michael Wilson is.
We're worried about you.
Michael Wilson is a guy I draft him in every draft I'm in. Yeah.
Do you think he outscores Marv this year?
Yeah, probably.
So you think he's Jacoby mogging Marvin Harrison Jr. this year? Man, there's what year did he come out? 2023? Last year was his third year in the league.
Yeah, when he got drafted, I said, this is the best pick in their draft. And boy, am I happy it came to fruition. Or something happened last year, to kind of, because it wasn't looking good at first.
You were like, how do I undelete a tweet? Because I've deleted a bunch.
But see, that's the thing, I'm not a big delete tweet guy, so I just needed it to work,
To Denny's point, he was about to say, Michael Wilson didn't come out of nowhere. He was a pretty hyped day 2 pick in 2023.
And a good profile.
A really, really good downfield profile.
And he had games that some good receivers may never have in their career. 185 yards is serious stuff. Will Marvin Harrison Jr. ever have that in? Maybe, but we don't know. This dude was doing it twice within 3 weeks.
Right.
So, I like that player a lot. Christian Watson is the wild card of my receivers.
I will say your receivers have a lot of upside. Now, the floor is a little uncertain, but if Watson goes off, if Michael Wilson goes off, that's 2 luxury picks.
I feel great about Garrett Wilson as long as Geno Smith is the quarterback.
So, Denny,
how long is that going to
We're going to put you on the stand now. The draft room has closed, by the way. So if you're going to pull up your team, you have to go elsewhere on Yahoo to find it. But our team is a graphic for you, though.
All right.
I just didn't know if you were going to be tooling through your computer.
All right.
But they got it for you right there. So 'cause they remembered your team.
There you go. I regret some picks.
Like what? Wow, really confident start there.
I'll be honest with you. So we did finally get some good Sam Laporta reportage out of Lions camp, right? We hadn't heard anything about it. Coming off back surgery, missed most of last year. Kyle has mentioned the splits between how Jamison Williams performed with and without Laporta on the field. I think they missed him a lot. And Dan Campbell has talked recently about making sure he's involved as a main part of the offense. Now, I took him pretty late, I believe. I like him. I'm not totally committed to him. I'm not going to hang on to him if he is struggling, if he does show signs of wear and tear, like you might think. I will say Jonah Coleman, Tank Bigsby, and Kenneth Gainwell, I took them as, speculative adds who could slot in if, God forbid, Bijan misses any time, or if DeAndre Swift misses any time. I could easily, put those guys, especially Kenny Gainwell. Bigsby is purely contingency. I'm not expecting him to come in and cut into Barkley's workload at all. I have mentioned on the show several times how insanely efficient Bigsby has been, not just last year, but the year before in Jacksonville. So if he gets a chance to be, a spot starter for the Eagles, I think he'll do really well.
I'm going to be honest, Denny. I think you knocked this draft out the park.
I was going to say, Denny's team.
My favorite pick, I don't like the Laporta pick, but hell, everything else, my favorite pick is Kenneth Gainwell.
Even his kicker pick.
Kenneth Gainwell.
I was mad with
you. Yeah, you got a guy who kicked the 70-yard field goal. But Kenneth Gainwell here, he could challenge Bucky Irvin to lead the team in running back receptions. I think he caught 73 passes last year. And the fact that you got George Pickens, Malik Neighbors, and Tetero as your 3, you got nothing to worry about there. You got 2 guys who could be wide receiver 1s with Bijan Robinson as your top running back. Then you got Dak with a stack of George Pickens. Like, I think the team is pretty damn good.
I appreciate it.
It was part Denny, but it was also partly Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson at 1-2 kind of afford special team building opportunities, I feel like. These are like truly the upside outcomes for these guys this year are basically as high as I've ever seen in fantasy. Because Denny, as everyone knows, tends to lean receiver heavy early in drafts. But at 1 and 2, this is not an option this year. You have to do Bijan. You have to do Gibbs. You got to do Bijan.
At 3.
Yes, that's right. And then your receiver core, utterly ridiculous. You have Tetero McMillan as your wide receiver 3. And Gibbs and Bijan, like you would like to think all first-round picks are created equal. 1 to 12, they're just not this year.
They're not.
They're just not at all this year.
Yeah, and I would go receiver later in the first round, just to be clear. But you start off with Bijan or Gibbs. I'm not going to like take a stand and be like one's a bad pick, the other's good. It's not like that. They're both going to go crazy this year if they're healthy. That goes without saying.
I don't even think it's worth the conversation. To be honest, to me, I think it's been, if you look on any fantasy site or any fantasy video, there's a lot of talk about who should you take at the 101, and I'd be looking like, who cares? Like, you got one guy who's catching 80 passes, then you got another guy who's, who's going to get 15 touchdowns, who runs like a damn cheetah. Like, the 101, if your pick's 1 or 2, that's the least of your worries. Start looking at other rounds of who could be there, when it comes back to you. Because it's going to be a long time before you draft again. If you have 1 or 2, that should be your concern, not Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs. It's just like a weird convo at this point to me.
I said this about Rashee Rice when I picked, I believe it was right after you took Neighbors, but Malik Neighbors, even more so than Rashee Rice, I wanted Malik Neighbors at my spot, is a pick where if he was going at the 1-2 turn, I'd be like, that's a little expensive for a guy coming off a knee injury, but I understand it because when we see him take the field, he looks like a top 3 or 4 fantasy receiver. In bad offenses, we haven't even seen him in a good offense yet. Imagine what it looks like if he plays on a functional NFL team. And so if he went at the 1-2 turn, I'd kind of just begrudgingly be like, that's okay. I know the knee stuff is an issue. I don't know if he's exactly 100% for week 1, but I'd consider taking him there. And to get that opportunity right around the 2-3 turn for a player who maybe in September doesn't look like a top 5 fantasy receiver, but I think by October, by November, in the fantasy playoffs, truly is a good bet to be a top 3 or top 5 fantasy receiver. That's the type of pick at the 2-3 turn that I think wins you leagues. And it's why I felt good about Rashee Rice. I was really hoping you didn't take Neighbors, and I believe he was that pick.
We talked at the top of the show about the valuation of running backs shifting over the past decade or so, right? So now we're doing the heavy running back thing. That has functionally depressed the ADP of a guy like Neighbors, of a guy like Pickens, like McMillan, right? And so that I feel like those guys are values now because people are chasing running backs so hard, which makes sense. Listen, I'm not saying that's the wrong way to do it. I'm just saying that that's the zigging when others are zagging.
So, Kyle, you and I have a real problem. We are used to easily drafting better teams than Denny. Like, we don't even try.
I don't know if it happened this time.
We just open the computer, get out our phone, easily draft a better team.
I set my rankings, put on auto, and I don't even set the rankings. I just put it on auto.
Denny went goblin mode drafting. He's got an amazing team. Is your team better or worse than Denny's? How do you feel about the squad?
It's worse.
Ooh, the running back's there.
I actually think it's better.
The man who drafted the team says he thinks it's better.
This team is markedly worse than Denny's. I'm going to be honest with you.
Look, Puka and Rashee Rice is crazy. And then Bowers, are you kidding me? Like, Bowers is a receiver that you can put at
but Brock Bowers will never have a down season, ever.
Well, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault.
Yeah, to me, I mean, Brock Bowers is another one of the picks where I think if you just gave me truth serum and said, where do you think he should go? I'd be like, the 9th overall pick. He was the best tight end in the NFL the very moment he stepped onto the field as a rookie, and then his team fell apart around him, and he got hurt, and played through that PCL injury in his second season. If any player in the NFL has an alibi for having a down year, I think Brock Bowers is very much at the top of the list.
Of course.
And when you look at guys who are when you look at guys who are as good as he was as a rookie, you'd have a list of one player. It would only be Brock Bowers because he was the best rookie tight end to ever grace the NFL. To me, if a tight end is going to break out in the way that we had with the Pete Kelce's, Pete Kittles, and Gronks, the very obvious pick is Brock Bowers.
Best rookie tight end, excuse me, Kyle Pitts. Here.
Yeah, he dog-walked Kyle Pitts in his rookie season. As a Kyle Pitts supporter, I would take the Brock Bowers rookie season comfortably.
Kyle, I have a question. Sorry, Lawrence.
No, go ahead.
I have a question about Kyle's team. You recently went viral on social media for a negative Omar Cooper Jr. tweet. And yet I see him on your team.
Interesting.
Wow, Kyle.
Curious, what's going on?
What a liar.
The tweet, which if I am going to try and recall it off the top of my head, was Omar Cooper in his first preseason game played in the sixth drive of that game. The number of first-round rookies who have played that deep into a preseason game is very slim, and the most recent one was kind of infamous bust Treylon Burks. I will note, other players on the list included the likes of Will Fuller, Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore. So I do think it's a modest red flag that they're saying you really need to get reps under your belt, Omar Cooper Jr., but it's also more of a yellow flag. It's something that was not a hang-up at any point in DJ Moore's career, that they thought he should get more reps early, even before the season started. So going as a first-round pick, and he's essentially free in fantasy drafts, that's the type of upside bet I want to bake in at the ends of my drafts, especially when I have a lot of safety built in. For my third receiver spot, it was Mekhi Lemon, knowing that I'm not going to be able to start him week one. He's banged up right now. He's missing the offseason, but he also has a true alpha skill set dating back to his days at USC.
Who you putting in his spot week one?
I know.
Are you going to say Michael Pittman? I assume?
Pittman.
So,
Yep,
so
I
that's
took some
what
safety picks.
So even with Michael Pittman, right, I'm looking at you guys as two teams, and I'm looking at who has more question marks in the starting lineup. For Denny's team, as like a question mark, I would say Sam Laporta, and then no other question marks in his lineup. For your team, Kyle, I would have said Bayshell Tootin, Mekhi Lemon, and or Michael Pittman. And there was one other guy in there.
You don't need to worry about it. Don't look at me.
let me go find out. But it was 3 versus 1. Now, I think I had 3 question marks myself in my own lineup, but I don't know. I think Denny's team is winning right now.
I appreciate it.
We'll have to see Pat's team with Jared Goff.
Denny's team's winning. We saved my team. We're running out of time. Under 10 minutes remaining.
Okay.
But that's because we saved the most important topic for the end of the show. My team.
Let's see Rotopats.
My team, you're going to see a lot of the letter Q popping up a lot. That stands for questionable. A lot of these guys hurt. A lot of them injured. Jared Goff, I see that, and I actually do just like want to get up and walk out of the studio.
I wouldn't call it a question mark,
I choked on the Goff pick, actually. It should have been Mahomes.
The lights were too bright.
Were lights too bright in running back? I went real young, upside, Jeremiah Love. We're talking about how the RB1 tier has never been deeper, and I didn't get in the RB1 tier. I got Jeremiah Love just outside that tier. I got Travion Henderson just outside the RB2 tier. I love my receiver spots, even with Emeka Egbuka being my third receiver. I feel it's kind of similar to Tet being your third receiver, Denny.
Yeah.
I would go with Emeka Egbuka over Tet.
No, this might sound like something like a
He don't like to be called Tet.
No, I know. No, sorry, T-Mac. Sorry, Mr. T-Mac. This is not something usually a winning manager will say. I love my bench. I really do love my bench.
I like
if all my starters fail, I'm in a good place.
When my starters fail, Jordan Addison is a boom-bust wide receiver 3 who I think can flip matchups. I think Kyle Monangai, maybe the hyperextension changes this. It's kind of in the left lane passing DeAndre Swift. I think the Swift thing's on borrowed time. Yes, he's a Ben Johnson selection. Ben Johnson, you may remember, traded DeAndre Swift.
And last year, he committed to him as the lead back.
Commit is a bit strong. He played like 51% of the snaps.
I don't know if he takes Swift's spot just yet, but I do think him and Jaylen Warren, you could swap those guys easy, and on some days you'll get more production out of Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, so as the young guys come along slowly, Travion, I can just put in Kyle Monangai. I could put in Jordan Addison if Emeka Egbuka in his toe, which he broke just like me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I could put in Addison, but I don't love the team when I saw my graphic. I will say that.
As far as who are your running backs? Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love is Travion Henderson.
So
and then Jaylen Warren, then Kyle Monangai.
Right.
Woody Marks. No one's talking about Woody Marks.
It's not hateful, I will say.
Yeah, it's not hateful.
Here's what I'll say about Henderson. We had a report last week that he's still struggling in pass protection. I think that matters, especially for a coach like Mike Vrabel, who's,
Another guy who fumbles every time he touches the ball.
You can't.
Doesn't matter when love is involved,
right?
They love him.
They do love him. He is the perfect archetype of a running back that coaches love to give touches to, much to the dismay of fantasy managers specifically. It's an attack on us, but it's also one where I'm like, I get why an NFL coach just wants to trust a certain player to do most of the little things right. Fumbling is generally an issue for him.
So TreVeyon Henderson, I think, is going to be reliant on the big plays. Thankfully, he can do that.
Yes.
Banking on that is going to be really tough. I just feel like it's going to be a lot of high variance situation for TreVeyon Henderson.
TreVeyon or Tootin?
Tootin for me.
Put a line in the sand.
TreVeyon's a better player.
Tootin, just fantasy-wise.
What evidence is there that Tootin's good?
I mean, he was a really good back in college. Also,
absolutely love when a guy's already played in the NFL.
This is what I say,
reference
Pat.
his
There
college.
was not a single soul that I saw talk about Bijan Tootin until he ran a 4.33 at the combine. Never people that never.
Who cares about that?
What, the combine?
Yeah, I know. I'm saying like a running back's speed, 40 speed. Like that doesn't really translate.
Not in a lot of cases.
I mean,
nah.
You guys remember Tywan Jones?
But
I do, but I'm not proud that I remember Tywan Jones.
I will say that he returned kicks in college, Bijan Tootin, so there was some of that, and he did look, fast when he did that type of stuff. But to what Pat said, I don't know what evidence there is besides the fact that he's the top running back for them right now.
We don't have any more time on Tootin, unfortunately. We are running out of time. We got to see the most important part. We got to see the draft grades from Yahoo. Let's see the Yahoo draft. Oh, okay.
What?
Zach, who, let's be real, auto-picked a few drafts. Auto-picked a few picks. He gets Denny. Oh, my God. The computers love Denny. Lawrence.
Well, that means
out of school.
That means ferocious, fearless.
Lawrence will be going to boarding school next year. He has failed out.
Yeah.
Chris Allen, D-. Jennifer Eakins, D-. Ian Hartitz, D. I got a D.
These Yahoo grads are tough.
Wow,
it was a tough pass to class.
They really think I'm about to just sit here and go 3-12. That is just disrespectful to my fantasy career.
I think at Yahoo they had to talk about like grade inflation or something. There can be multiple A's, guys.
By the way, I used AI.
Well, Yahoo always gives the best grades to the team that ends up last. So I thought Denny's team was good, but now they say it's good. So now I'm a little worried about your team, Denny.
Oh man, well that doesn't make me feel good. I will say, I mean, the grades are rough. I wouldn't judge yourself too much on that, especially if you do something like a zero running back approach, where you don't take your first running back until like the 4th or 5th round or even later. It's going to crush you on those grades. It doesn't mean much. It just means that you probably draft a high variance team.
Loving magnanimous Denny here. He gets hit with an A+. He's like, it's not a big deal.
Very humble.
It hasn't changed me at all.
It's fine. It's not a big deal.
He knows to act like you've been there.
I tell you what will change anyone is drafting with a group like this. Thank you so much to Yahoo's Hayden Winks, Yahoo's Matt Harmon, RotoWire's Ian Hartitz, Yahoo's Scott Pianowski, 444 Football's Jennifer Eakins, our own Rivers McCown, Chris Allen from Fantasy Life, Denny Carter, Zach Kruger, Kyle Dvorchak, Lord Don't Lose, Lawrence Jackson Jr. I was also in the draft. We're going to be in a lot more drafts this summer.
Yep.
This is a really, really great time, guys.
It was fun. Check out the Rotoworld football show.
NBCSports.com/FFKit. If you want to draft as good as Lawrence, Denny, Kyle, Patrick Daugherty, myself, we were so honored that you joined us for the 2026 Rotoworld Fantasy Football Draft.